So excited to be here with everyone. Today, we're going to be here back again with Chef Courtney Contos. Yay! I know, it's so great to be here with you. I've missed you, Courtney. I feel like I'm virtually in your new kitchen. Both of us have moved and now we get to see your new kitchen. I'm in my new place in Dallas and this is exciting.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Tell us what you're preparing for us today.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful to be here with your amazing tribe. I love everyone so much. It's always fun. And, I'll always just say this, but I'm your chef friend here. And anybody can reach out, questions about ingredients, anything about today. I am your friend for life when it comes to food and any questions about the kitchen. So today, I'm going to be talking about spices a little bit. I want to share with you my top tools because I think that's helpful. A lot of people have tools in the kitchen that don't get them really excited and they get like stuck on, I hate peeling carrots because I don't have the good peeler. And so I want to share my top favorite tools and I'm going to show you a quick way to pickle cauliflower. And the reason I like this is because it's keto friendly. It's nutritious and you don't have to buy, things pickled. You can do it yourself. And that way you can use your high quality vinegars, your beautiful spices, and you can put them in a nice, Weck jar. These are made in Germany. They're the German canning jars. They're so pretty. And I like to serve this when people come over. I always have some kind of a homemade pickled vegetable. It's great with pate. It's good to use as like with a homemade keto-friendly hummus. So today we're going to pickle a cauliflower, but you can do carrots, green beans, cucumbers. The list is endless. But I really want to focus on the spices and making it memorable.
Yeah, no, so great. And thank you in advance. We have the recipe posted just above this video or below this video, depending on where you're watching. And Courtney is really such an expert when it comes to food and also like the kitchen gadgets. I'm always picking up another gadget thanks to Courtney. I'm like, I cannot move any more kitchen gadgets. That's it. So staying put with my kitchen gadgets, but there's always something. And I want to share like cauliflower. Cauliflower is a superfood. It's so healthful, so nutritious. It's one of our Keto Green 16 foods that I recommend. And it is rich in DIM and sulforaphane and methylators, helping detoxification and hormone metabolism and all those good, so many good nutritious reasons to use cauliflower. So always looking for different ways to use cauliflower as well. And actually this week, Courtney, you'll be very proud of me. Been playing around with some recipes and I made a cauliflower leek soup puree. And
oh my gosh, I love it.
So delicious. So I'm excited for this. And I see you've got our Bragg's vinegar. It is my choice vinegar there too. And there's my nice background.
And you have a recipe in here, which by the way, we got to keep cooking together. This is just too fun. You have a recipe in here that is for a cauliflower gnocchi. And that's what I want to show your beautiful tribe next time because it's a little like elegant, a little fun, not something, you would just think of. And I find that such a creative recipe and I'm excited to make that next time.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. You guys, we're going to have questions here. Gigi's joining us. She says, my husband is a chef and always wants more gadgets. Lucky you.
Hi, Gigi. Welcome. Good. Well, I owned a kitchen store in Vermont for 7 years, and it was also a cooking school. I was on the cover of Food and Wine magazine as the best cooking school in the world. And I used to say, I sell tools, not gadgets, because I feel like sometimes gadgets are those things that end up in the basement, a year later, and you're like, what am I going to do with this thing? But what I love to promote are high quality, long lasting tools. You won't find a kale destemmer or anything like that here. I want you to have high quality tools, not too many of them, just the right ones. So pickled vegetables. Today we're using cauliflower and I'm just going to cut this into florets. And when I'm cutting this, I'm thinking about, which I'm always thinking about when I'm cooking, which is how are people going to be eating this? So I want it to be a size that people could grab. So that it's not awkward or, that it's just the right size. So I think about how things fall on the fork, how they end up on the plate. And I learned that at a restaurant called Charlie Trotter's in Chicago where I trained. So I am going to just fill up my weck jar. And these are weck jars. Yes, I'm kind of addicted to them. My girlfriend used to joke that I have so many weck jars that my underwear and socks are all lined up in them, but that's not true. That was just a joke. So we'll put
That's hysterical. We're laughing at you right here. But what lid do you put on those weck jars?
So you could, where's my other one? I have so many weck jars. They sell wood ones, and they also make them in cork. And then I'm going to use a glass one. I'm just going to use this glass. You don't have to use the ring. Actually, I find them kind of annoying. So, but for this, I'm just going to put this kind of a lid on it. But when you buy the weck jars, you can swap it out. I definitely have some wood ones, and I like those too.
Very cool. Okay, and we can get those weck jars anywhere. I said no more gadgets and tools.
Well, they're so pretty. I mean, look, everything.
They are so pretty.
All of my, nuts and, powders, baking powder, everything comes out of plastic, including frozen berries, as soon as it gets to the house, and it goes into a weck jar. So my freezer, any frozen vegetables, they go into weck jars because we want them out of the plastic.
Yes.
Right? We want to get them out of the plastic too. And then it's just nice to have, your kitchen feel good and have it be like that. We do that in other parts of our house where things are all nice. And so I like to do that in the kitchen too. So I'm just cutting this up. I'm going to sneak while I can some bay leaves just along the side of the jar here because I want them to be visible. I do want this to be a little pretty. And you can mix this up. So you could, also put in green beans. You could put in other vegetables too. It's very, we're gonna color it up with a little saffron and some turmeric. So it won't look as white as it does now in a few minutes. So I think I'll stop there and just see. That is a lot. This clearly could make a couple jars. So a couple things to notice here about my setup is I have one of these. This is a great tool. This is my bench scraper. So this is what I use to pick up all my little scraps, and it goes in my compost bucket here, which is a loaf pan. It's an antique loaf pan. It's a little sentimental. I love this thing, so it's a little vintage one, and the bench scraper goes right here. And I have a nice big cutting board. So I feel grounded. I have a towel underneath the cutting board so it doesn't slide, nice sharp knife. And it just feels good to get set up like that. If you have a tiny little cutting board, that's great for slicing a lemon, but it is not good for getting dinner on the table. You want to have a nice big board.
Well, that's something you told me a while ago too, Courtney, was about putting the dish towel under the cutting board so it doesn't slip, right?
Exactly.
So it doesn't slip, it stays still. You just put that dish towel under the cutting board. And also sometimes you forget the cutting board, at least I do, and then it gets gross under the cutting board. We don't want to do that. All right.
Yes. And I was just telling my husband the other day, when you put the dish towel, now I have to show you because it's just too fun. But when you put the dish towel underneath the cutting board, I like it to be folded so that the cutting board has room underneath so that there's air. You see how I have it folded so that there's kind of like still air flowing around here, because if you do scrub it or it is wet, I don't want any mold to happen or anything like that. I've had this board since I graduated culinary school, and I think that's 26 years ago. So invest in a nice board. Spend $200, spend $100 if you can, or have someone make it. Maybe your husband needs a project. He can go out in the garage and make one, and they'll last forever if you take care of them.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And two, also just with those bits and pieces of the cauliflower, that can go into a bone broth, a vegetable broth. Yeah. That can be cooked up. Those stems too can be cooked up into your bone broth and add that to the bones, and so delicious.
And so this is my compost bucket. So I will put everything in here in the freezer, and I have, kind of a big bowl in there. So when I do make the broth, which we do from scratch, it all just goes in there. Stems, little end pieces, onion scraps, that all can go in your broth. No reason to throw it out. So we're going to make the pickling liquid, and I just have a little pot here. I'm going to add Star Anise. So beautiful Star Anise. And that is a wonderful spice that is a little bit like licoricey. So this is a gorgeous star. It's a beautiful spice. All my spices, I try to buy whole as much as possible, unless it's from a really trusted source like my spice company in New York that I use, La Boite Spice Company. So buy your spices whole and then grind them yourself, or in this case, we want to keep it whole. And then I'm going to add a pinch of saffron. So saffron comes from what plant? Anybody know? We'll ask some questions. What plant does the saffron come from? Which flower, actually? The most expensive spice in the world, saffron. And this saffron.
Man, I don't know. Do we have anyone who's listening that knows? Where does saffron come from? I was like, it's not the saffron flower. I do not know. This is great, you guys. And don't forget, the recipe is in the show notes, so you get to see that. All right. Where's it come from, Courtney?
It comes from the crocus.
The crocus.
So, yes. You get 3 tiny little stems, from the crocus plant. So, each one of these, is hand harvested from the crocus flower, obviously a specific one, not the one that's going to come up in spring. But, and this is the most expensive spice in the world. Now, the saffron has a beautiful flavor, and it also gives color. Saffron will be great in your cauliflower risotto, a little pinch of that, maybe with a splash of white wine. And I had another thought where it's really nice in like a fish bouillabaisse kind of a stew. So I'm going to add some allspice in here. I don't even think this is in the recipe, but that's part of cooking, is to be free, have fun. So I'm going to add some whole allspice berries.
And I just thought I'd pull up real quick a picture of the crocus flower. How gorgeous. And that's where that saffron comes from.
That's gorgeous. Yes.
Gorgeous. My favorite. Actually, those are my see. Those are my Dr. colors.
Yeah.
Purple and gold, as you can see. How pretty.
We'll have to we'll do a saffron section in the next book. There you go.
Yes.
So I'm going to add some chili flakes. It's optional, but mine are smoked. And so I'm like building layers and layers of flavor. And you can do that with spices and still have it be keto, which is really nice. So you're just like adding these flavors, but keeping, the cauliflower, you're not adding sugar and you're not adding things that don't match. So I'm going to also put a little bit of turmeric. See, another weck jar. Lock me up. That's it. Full of weck jars. So,
maybe I'm going to ask for that for Christmas. Like,
gotta get all sizes. You can look, they're everywhere. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, how gorgeous. Okay, for my Christmas wish, I don't know if anyone's listening.
And then I'm going to add salt. So this is a salt pig. This is made by Emile Henry. These are made in France. They're unglazed on the inside because really good high quality sea salt is naturally wet, right? It's like still kind of sticking to the bag a little bit. And if you put that right into your salt mill, it's going to clog it up. And if you live in a place like Miami or Texas where it's humid, I don't know if Texas is humid, maybe certain parts, but I know Miami is, and you would want to put this in a salt pig, and especially in the summer times, the unglazed part of the salt pig pulls the moisture out of the salt. All right, so I have some gorgeous, this is actually like the Rolls Royce of salt here. This is the first fleur de sal layer. This is from France. I forget the name of the town, but my husband gets really excited about salt too. He's a chef, so he just brought this home. So these salt pigs, again, Emile Henry, they're made in France. They're beautiful, and it's curved, so right, nothing falls in it, and you just can grab as it sits on your counter. So now we'll add some water. I'm going to add RO water. It's clean, non-toxic water. You can go to the EWG website and type in your zip code, EWG Environmental Working Group, and see if you don't have a water filter, what's actually in your water. And I'm pretty sure it'll lead you to getting a filter pretty quick, because the only water I've looked up as a health coach and found really clean was actually Hawaii. But everywhere else, I'm constantly surprised at how toxic the water is, even up in the high mountains of Vermont. So next ingredient is apple cider vinegar. Beautiful, unfiltered, raw with the mother Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I'm just doing half a recipe because this is plenty for us right now. And I'm going to warm that up. It won't take long. I'm cooking on induction. And then we will pour this over the gorgeous cauliflower, and that's going to change color. So this whole thing is going to turn a beautiful orange reddish color, which will be really festive.
And if we had something else in the kitchen, we could add some things in. We could add like some red pepper, or could we do that in there?
Absolutely. Yeah, add raw red pepper. That would be gorgeous. And just cut it again, thinking about how people are going to eat it. The other thing I like to use with these pickled vegetables is if I make a lettuce taco, I'll chop some of this up and sprinkle it in there. And it gives it that acidic bite where you're like, oh, this is really memorable. You can put some jalapeno slices in here. That would be fantastic.
That sounds good to add that additional heat to it. Hot spice.
Yeah, that would be good.
Good.
I want to introduce you to two books. We were talking about spices, but a lot of people as a chef ask me, well, I just don't know how to cook with herbs and spices, and I tend to get like stuck and I don't know where to begin. So this book, The Food Lover's Companion, you see it, The Food Lover's Companion. I call it the FLC for short, The Food Lover's Companion. It's a little tiny book. Mine is quite old. There's probably new editions out there. But in the back of this book, in this edition, it's $7.47. But in all the books, there's a section called Seasoning Suggestions. And I tell you, this is the most wonderful, wonderful resource. So you can look up pretty much anything from cauliflower to spinach to asparagus. Look, artichokes, it's all alphabetized. And it tells you which spices and herbs go with that vegetable or meat. So it kind of helps you like think outside the box a little too. So let's experiment. Let's look something up. Let's look up cauliflower and see what it says.
I love that. I think that's great to see. I have an old thing from Warner's Spices that used to be in Pennsylvania. And I have this just very old document. I'll have to snapshot a picture. You'll love it. And it just talks about the different herbs and what foods they're really. And that's been a great.
That's so helpful. Yeah, it's so helpful because we end up doing the same thing over and over sometimes, and we forget. Like, oh, so right here with cauliflower, it has basil, cumin, mace, marjoram, mustard seed. Actually, that's a little something I want to add. Savory, tarragon. So I forget. Tarragon would be great in pickled vegetables, but also mace and cauliflower. So then I'm thinking, I'm going to make cauliflower mash, and mace is actually the outside of nutmeg. If you don't know what mace is. It's
I didn't know what that was. I was thinking like maize, like corn. So I'm glad you said so.
Mace, M-A-C-E. It's orange in color and almost looks like a spider. It's just, it has these, like it goes around the nutmeg. So the nutmeg has three parts to it. You have the mace, which is this orange spidery web. Then you have a hard shell that you generally discard, or you could use it to flavor something. And then you have the actual little nutmeg. So mace is on the outside. It's kind of the Rolls Royce of the nutmeg. It's a little more elegant, has a beautiful, beautiful flavor. And if you're ever going to buy mace, which you should, please buy it whole. You want to buy it whole, not already ground, because ground spices are like an old shag rug. You know, you don't want because it's just going to sit there. You want to grind it yourself. So this section is really fun because it gets you like out of your ruts. Like if you always cook spinach the same way and you're just kind of stuck, it's easy. You could still saute it or you could still blanch it, but now you have other spice ideas. Like cardamom and spinach are best friends. Like who would have thought? So sometimes like a pinch of cardamom, boom, you know, you got a whole different flavor profile. You haven't done like, it wasn't a crazy project. So this is now boiling. And really nice and hot.
I love cardamom. I'm gonna. Gigi wrote in. We have a flavor Bible. You got to tell us what that is too, Gigi. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Anything to keep it interesting. So I'm just gonna pour this over here.
That looks gorgeous.
And this is perfect amount. And then I'm gonna put the lid on and just push everything down. It kind of goes down as it.
And you leave the full anise in there? You leave the full anise like that and you would just take it out?
Yeah, I keep it that way because then it looks pretty, because then you have the bay leaf, you have the whole spices, and you put that out when people come over, you serve pate, it's gorgeous, it's just gorgeous. So the other book I wanted to mention, this is a nice gift book for the holidays, but this is the Spice Companion. And this is by Lior. He owns La Boite Spice Company in New York City. And he does take that little version to like the next level. And what I like about this book is that he shows you what the what the plants
Mary, you gotta come see this book. Come see this book.
While they're growing. He shows you what it looks like while they're growing. So it's kind of fun to know, like, oh, that's what cumin looks like as a plant. And
show that again. Show that book. Look.
Yeah.
So,
so that's the spice companion.
I'd like that for Christmas too.
Hi, love. Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
It's a fun book, The Spice Companion. It's a great book to just kind of curl up with, lemon balm. You're like, oh, you just learned.
Beautiful. That's a Christmas book.
Yeah. Beautiful book. So that's your.
Oh.
Now she wants it.
These are healthy gifts,
So
books
good.
like that inspire. I mean, that's it. That's the magic. So let's go over some tools. I know you've been working
Let's run through the recipe one more time, and just want to encourage everyone to give us some love, tell us where you're listening from, and give us a shout out here. I definitely know we are with Chef Courtney Contos. She is out of Miami and has been our celebrity chef here on the Girlfriend Doctor Live when we do these lives. And so we are broadcasting into our Magic Menopause community, into our Keto Green community. All her formulas she shares with us, all her recipes, her magic are keto green and really designed for hormone balance, decreasing inflammation. Check out Courtney Contos, Chef Courtney Contos at her website too, because her story is just so inspiring and really using food as medicine. And you can tell her love and passion for it to make it part of our lives. If anything, this quarantine has said, oh man, let's boost up our skills in the kitchen, make things lovely and interesting. So, and we've got Donna here from Alberta, Canada, Robin from Georgia, Venus is here from our Magic Menopause group, and Donna Lewis is here. Great. Aww. Look at all this. Great. Love.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
Just to, you mentioned my story, and for, I'm here now. I was a chef and still am for 25 years. And now as a health coach, I just want, just like the work you do, give people hope that change is possible. I was told I'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life due to rheumatoid arthritis if I didn't take their specific injections, which I did for a long time, took a lot of the drugs that most people would take with rheumatoid arthritis, but I found a way out. And everybody can. So now I have no symptoms, no lab markers. It just doesn't exist even in my labs. So it is possible for so many of you to reverse chronic conditions and to feel your best and live your best life. So that's why we're all here. So we just made pickled cauliflower, and we have spices in here, which is going to make it so memorable. So we have star anise, we have the bay leaves, and turmeric and saffron, and a few smoked chili flakes. Now, something I forgot to do, which is very important. Oh, and I snuck some allspice in here. So it's really going to be quite flavorful. And it reminds me, last week, my husband, who's also a chef, we corned a beef. So we made homemade corned beef, but without the nitrates. And he put cinnamon and allspice in the corning, in the brine. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So you have to taste this. You need to taste it to make sure there's enough salt. I was thinking that I want a little more salt, because even though the brine, you might taste it there, you really want it to penetrate through to the cauliflower. So I'm just going to make sure there's enough salt in here. And now you can just let this cool. You could serve it, within a couple hours, but it's also going to get better in the refrigerator. You could make it 5 days in advance, as long as it's covered and it's pickled. There's really nothing that could cause it to go bad. And then you could put, for color, you want to put a carrot, a red pepper. You could put cucumbers in there, green beans. You could just put some green beans right in here, fresh all around the sides. And it'd be so pretty to show up to someone's house or gift or have at your house, all the above, whatever anybody is doing.
And then just even serving it as a side vegetable, right? So it needs to, so with the brine, that's going to also help ferment it a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then ideally we would have it sit for a few days.
That would be the best situation. Yep. To let it sit. And if you can't wait, then have a couple and then put the rest off for a couple days.
And how long can it stay in the fridge?
A really long time. I mean, think of your pickle jar. How long has it been there? That's it. As long as it's covered. The other thing you can add in here too, And maybe I'll just throw one in is a little garlic clove, just throw one of those in smashed up. I love garlic, so I happen to have it sitting right here. I'm just going to give it like a little smash, pop it out of the shell, and let's just drop that in. Some nice flavor in there. So that's it. It's simple.
Could we put ginger in there if we weren't using garlic? Would also be a good addition in there.
Which one?
Ginger.
Oh, yes. Yes. Ginger. Love ginger. Yeah, you could add ginger in there. And that's the thing. Like, you could really take this and add like a lot of curry powder and maybe cumin and coriander. So that's where, like, I want you to open up your heart to using spices in new ways, take risks, be brave, have some fun. And you could do like an Indian version of this. So if it's like curry night at your house, like Indian curry, oh yeah, change this up. Add a lot of ginger. It'd be great. And guess what? Lemongrass too. Like really aromatic. Little lemongrass would be nice. So speaking of ginger, I don't know if we've done this before, but I really want to show you a couple ways to just to work with ginger. So sometimes, so here's a piece of ginger. I'm just going to break off a piece. Oh, it smells so good.
I love all the tips you give, Courtney. Thank you.
Oh, so now I have a piece of ginger. It's not peeled. And sometimes if you're getting that fresh Hawaiian ginger, fine, don't peel it. You don't have to peel this either, but most of the time we want to. And you want to use a spoon, right? So I just have a nice silver spoon. Yes, I love silver. I only use silver. What can I say? I grew up. I have a dachshund running around here. Hey, Uccini. No, he's got the.
You know what? At the antique stores, you can get those silver spoons. You can get a lot of them in the antique stores, and you can just clean it with lemon, right?
Oh yes, lemon and barkeeper's friend or a little baking soda. Yeah, and they just come right back. I love them. I grew up in a French restaurant, so we always had nice silver. So you can use the spoon to just peel off the skin. Now, if you have a big piece of ginger, you just peel only what you want to use. You don't have to peel the whole thing. Nobody says you need to do that. So you just peel it using a spoon. You go around the edges, and that's it. And so now I have little peeled ginger. I have my bench scraper. I'll clean this right up, right into the bone broth in the future. And then now ginger is really fibrous. So you can slice it. Actually, you could slice it and put it right in your pickled vegetables. But if you're looking for more of a pureed ginger, where you want it to kind of dissolve into your soups and into your dressings and marinades, that's when you want to use this grater. And that's the medium ribbon microplane grater. So microplane makes a couple different graters. I feel like last I checked, they make 3 different fineness, texture wise. And this is their professional microplane. I don't like the plastic. I don't want to hold any extra. There's plenty of plastic in my life, right? I don't need any extra. So they make it all stainless. And this is their professional line. It's still just around $20. It's not a huge, I might show you other things that aren't as affordable, but this one is affordable. So it has, this is good for jalapenos. And sometimes for a guacamole or a taco, I just grate the jalapeno. Just don't peel it, don't seed it. I just grate it, and it just, again, turns into this puree. So what happens when you grate the ginger is, ginger, remember, is really fibrous. And here's all those fibers left behind, like a whole head of hair that are just sticking up. I don't know if you can see that, but that.
Yeah, no, I can. That's great.
And so that's left behind. And that now we have this kind of creamy, almost like when you press garlic, right? It's just all yummy. And so now I have this beautiful ginger ready to go. I might even just put it in the cauliflower. I don't think there's any reason why not at this point. I'm just going to put it in here. So I'll just put that right in there. Delicious. Getting better and better the more we talk and cook, and who knows what else is going to go in there.
I know. We just got to do it, which is kind of nice because, you're using different foods. You're cooking in the kitchen, and just thinking when we're preparing a salad or doing a stir fry, if there's any little pieces left, to save those and say, okay, let me pickle this for another time. And then being able to serve that as a side dish, as an appetizer, as a, as a complement to other foods a little bit, adding fermented foods. We know in our keto green way of living, right, in keto green 16, we want to have those fermented foods to help support our gut microbiome. So all these herbs really makes it nice and anti-inflammatory, hormone balancing.
I mean, there's only 10% of us, right? The rest is all microbes.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? Like, are we in the body just to keep our microbes alive, our microbiome alive? It's unbelievable.
So true. Now, Robin asked, can we pickle broccoli?
Yeah, why not? But how about just the stems? How about use your florets, in a beautiful whatever saute, and maybe use the stems, like the crunchy pieces, cut them long, like big, matchsticks or French fries, and you can pickle those. But I mean, you could pickle the whole thing, but I think those stems would be nice and crunchy, and it'd be really memorable.
That sounds good. Hanel asked, does freezing affect the flavor of nutrients of the ginger?
Freezing the ginger. I know a lot of people in my cooking school would always say, oh, I freeze ginger. I don't have any hardcore research that it doesn't. It will last on your counter for weeks and weeks, just as like this. So this now, I just have it sitting here, only peeled. I'm going to set this right back out here with my onions and garlic and just let it sit there. And I know within a week, I'm going to get back to this and mix it and make a dressing or do something fun. But it's so inexpensive. I'd rather almost see you like use it more because it is so good for us. At the end of the night, make a little tea with just the leftover ginger and some water with a little lemon rind.
Mm-hmm.
Just use
great idea.
And you can pickle your own ginger too. Like, when you go out for sushi and they tend to add some sugar to those. So you could peel it kind of when you're shopping and you're going to be pickling ginger. I would try to buy a nice like long piece that's easier to manage and peel. But you can just slice it just like they do. And you could use a mandolin for that. One of these nice Japanese mandolins, slice it and then make your own pickling liquid and have pickled ginger. And that will be beautiful with fish and salads and tacos and stir fries. Like pickled ginger is amazing. Actually, now I want to make that too.
I know. That sounds fabulous. I love it. I love the idea. And that also just like, I'm just so tempted to come to Miami and play in your kitchen.
Yes.
Tools.
I have never been to Texas, so I might have to come there too.
Definitely. Always welcome.
Thanks. So a couple other tools I want to share. Thanksgiving is coming up. I don't know if people are cooking turkey at all, but if you are carving meat, doesn't have to be turkey. It could be a roast. I just want to share the proper knife to do that. And that is what they call a carver or a slicer. And that is generally a very long knife. It is not your chef's knife. You can see the difference. It's not your chef's knife. It's a long, thin knife. Now, chef's knives, we hold like this, thumb and index finger at the heel, no finger on top, even though everyone thinks it's supposed to be there. And don't get all your tips from the Food Network because I don't know, they are always having their finger up there. So this is how you hold the knife, light grip, and then it's a rocking motion, right? You just hear the knife sing, you make a nice sound, your elbows making a circle. So when you have a carving knife, it is not designed to be used that way because if you did, your hand's gonna right away hit the cutting board and it just doesn't work. So these knives are meant to be used heel to tip. Rather than when you're chopping vegetables, you go tip to heel, right? You're always up and then back. So these knives, you have your big roast, you start at the heel and then you pull it back and you make nice, clean slices. And often I see people using these knives and they're only using a tiny little piece of it. Use this whole knife to make your one slice. Let the knife do the work and have beautiful slices, okay? And then, of course, it should be as sharp as when you first bought it. Sometimes people are like, oh, I love this knife, but that's because maybe you just took it out of the box. You should always love your knives. And I sharpen my knives with this tool here by Broad & Taylor. It's a nice knife sharpener. It hones, we could talk about knives for forever, but let's just say this hones and then it also sharpens. Sharpens is when you remove metal. Honing is when you realign the edge of an already sharp knife. But this tool also sharpens serrated knives, which is really great. So I think this is made in like Switzerland or somewhere. And you just run your knife through here. So really simple to use. Whatever tool you're using, just use it so that you have sharp knives because it makes it so much more fun in the kitchen. Any questions on knives before we?
Oh, no, I love it. I think that's great. And I didn't know that about using heel to tip or, the whole length of that knife. And then that's the difference. So I'm learning. I always learn stuff with you. This is magical. Thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome. Yeah, use the whole knife. And even with your chef's knife too. You don't want to you paid for the whole thing. So use the whole thing. A couple other tools here. So these are, one is a peeler, one is a Julienned peeler, and these are by a company called Rosla. I know you and I have talked about this before. Rosle. They honor their tools for life, and they're German design, high quality tools. They started making tools for the hotel business long ago, and then they brought in a line for home cooks. So they really have figured out how to make it fun to do projects in the hotels, right? They're peeling bags of carrots that are, 50 pounds and then some, so that you got to have a peeler that's good. So they really, really did a great job creating tools. So this peeler here, they're really sharp. It peels butternut squash, it peels mangoes, and this is the best peeler. So if you don't like your peeler or you know someone and you want to upgrade them, that's the best one.
What's the name of that peeler again?
It's the swivel peeler by Rosla, Rosle.
Okay.
And it's their swivel peeler. They also make crosswise. If you want to have the peeler that your grandmother had, but up a couple notches, they make a crosswise one, right and left-handed.
Okay.
And then they make a Julienned peeler. So now I can have that carrot and I can just have it into these little guys here, like little, Julienne. And you can do that with cucumbers, with beets. What else? So many things. I wanted to say green papaya. I love those green papaya salads. And,
yeah. And then we got to add those julienne carrots into our cauliflower, pickled cauliflower.
Oh my goodness, it's going to keep going.
We keep going with it.
Let's put more in there. Now we got all kinds of color.
Oh, yeah.
They're in. That's it.
There we go. And I think that's like an awesome gift too, like to be able to do that and then gift it. It's made with love and, gift. That's beautiful, especially in that beautiful jar as well.
And this does, like if you're gifting it, I don't know where mine are, but it has clips, little clips so that it doesn't. So if you are gifting it, I would use the rubber seal and then I would put the 2 clips on it. Okay. So 2 other tools. One is the garlic press. So same company, Rosla. This garlic press, you don't have to peel the garlic. So you don't have to peel it and you can just put it in whole. And I'll show you now because I love using it. Now we're going to end up more ingredients in the pickle.
Garlic in there.
I know we won't mind. So I just put the whole clove in there. And what this does, you can see is it's all right there now. I didn't peel it. And then as I use it, it scrapes. Can you see that? Like it scrapes it off. So you don't have to do any of that. Like as you move it, there's a bar that scrapes the garlic clean.
Oh, how nice.
Yes,
okay.
It like runs over it. All right, you're going in.
Oh my God, so good.
This is gonna be like so good.
I think this just gives an idea too to already have like a pickling jar there when we are cooking and just add some pieces there to do that, and it can stay in the fridge for a long time. So
absolutely. And you know what I forgot to mention too? Do you ever go out to those awesome Persian restaurants, those falafel, like a really good Persian restaurant, and you have on your plate pickled turnips and they're pink, right? Those pink matchstick pickled turnips. I love those. And you can pickle those. And the way the turnips get pink is you just take a slice of raw beet and you put it right in with the turnips, and the whole jar just like slowly turns the most gorgeous, like almost neon hot pink just from the slice of the beet. And then you have pickled turnips. I don't love turnips, but I love them pickled.
Pickled turnips, absolutely. Yeah. And Hanel said she bought the garlic press after your last cooking show. She loves it. It's so easy.
Oh, I know. That's I'm so happy. Just a little tool can just, like when you walk in the kitchen, it can just kind of lift that experience up. Like you've had a long day and now you got to cook dinner. But I look forward to using my tools. I love them. You know, it really does cultivate joy for me here in the kitchen.
I love it. Sparkling joy.
I'm glad you shared that.
Cooking up some joy, Courtney. You are cooking up some joy.
We are cooking up some joy. So spatulas, I love a good spatula. This is made with olive wood, but what I really love about it is you see how it's curved and you're like, oh, something's wrong with that. I got to return it. No. This is how it's supposed to be. And that's so that when you go into, you know, your jar or your bowl or whatever you're scraping out your homemade mayo, it's already curved for you. So it's like already going in the direction like you wish it was going to go. It's not straight. It's already angling to your benefit. So I love these tools. This is olive wood, and I can tell it needs to be oiled. So that's a good project for me. Oil your wooden tools, including your boards. I have wooden handled knives, you know, maybe once every 3 months. I don't want to, you know, I'm not going to say every month, but at least twice a year. And this company is Staub, SATUB, and they make those gorgeous pots, which I'm surrounded with. Up top here are those heavy French pots, Staub, so STAUB. They make great spatulas. This is a small one. They have obviously a bigger one, but we use this so much that we have 2 of them because I feel like my husband every day finds a reason to use the spatula. So it just would be a nice little, gift with, you know, the veggies or whatever you're going to gift. But I like this as a gift for people that like to cook because it ships easy, it's light, but they are always going to love this spatula.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it for my tools. Let's see if there's some questions, and you know, I could keep talking and cooking all night with you. I'm having so much fun.
Oh, me too. Well, Jeannie asked, what do you oil your wood with?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I use a food grade mineral oil, and I'm almost thinking, where is it? Because lately I've been using a new one. There's a company called Epicurean. They make cutting boards that can go in the dishwasher out of compressed recycled paper. Epicurean. I have a ton of those too. They're lightweight. They come in all sizes. They make them in black. I like them in black too because they're fun for your veggie platters and pate and olives and all of that.
It's like what is it? A paper?
It's like a compressed recycled material. And I think I'll show you one. But I've had some for 12 years. So here's one. This is wow. One. This is just, this is for your tiny little project or for putting out something. So this company makes a wood oil that I love, and I think they call it block butter, like board butter. And it comes in a little tin, with a sponge, and that's what I use for my knives, for my cutting boards. But you also can use a food grade mineral oil. Yeah, food grade mineral oil would be great.
Oh yeah, I see it here. Epicurean Epi butter.
Yeah.
Board butter. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Wonderful, wonderful product. And when you oil your cutting boards, don't forget the sides, the edges, the underside, like just do the whole thing. It will thank you. That's it. That is a wonderful product. Yep. We used to sell a lot of that in my store, and somewhere I have it in the kitchen. Thanks for sharing that. Look, we're so modern here, and we make things happen. We are here.
We do. And that was actually my question too, Jeannie. I was like, okay, what are you using? Because it has to be food grade, and
yeah, it has to be.
Don't want it to go rancid. So, so that's really.
This is a nice company. Sometimes the wood board maybe isn't the right fit for you, and that's fine. They're heavy, they're bulky, but these guys. And they make them bigger. And of course, they make these boards square, rectangle, whatever you need. They have a size for rubber edges. But I love the black, and I just have a ton of these. They're nice because they go in the dishwasher. So sometimes that helps. Like, let's not pretend that there are not dishes in our kitchen every single day, all day.
So true. And then having something you can cut on and serve on, right?
Yes.
Cut on and serve on. And Hanel asked, what turkey baster do you recommend? So we're talking turkey and sauces and gravies. I went looking for turkey because I was doing my own cooking show segment for the Girlfriend Doctor, and there was no turkey yet. I was like, I had chicken. So I was trying to baste it was little. It was so cute. You guys, if you were put your orders in organic free range turkey, because you don't want to be, substituting, because that turkey just tastes so good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I love that.
I love that. You need to get your turkey orders in. And so I taught a Thanksgiving intensive class, 3 hours for 14 years. I love that class so much. We did everything from scratch, pies, everything. And including cooking the turkey in that amount of time. Well, actually just in about an hour and a half, or no, 2 hours, 2 hours to 2.5 hours, depending on the size of the bird. So a couple tips with turkey. Oh gosh, I love this subject. I don't know how much time we have, but I will keep it short. So I do brine my turkey. I am a fan of brining. You don't have to. You can salt brine or whatever, but I like to brine it. I like to get that because it helps with cooking. The proteins soak up the moisture and you get a nice even cooking, and it cooks faster too. So not only is it juicier, more flavorful, and in my brine, you better believe there's allspice, there's bunches of fresh thyme, and I use some apple cider vinegar, a little sliced apples. Like I just put so many fun things in there for fall. But after the turkey is brined, I pull it out. It goes on the roasting pan. I rub it with butter, really high quality butter. Stuff it, the usual carrots, onions, and all that. But I put it in the oven 425 until I get a nice skin on it, which could be 30 minutes, maybe a touch more. And you might want to switch it around one time in case your oven has hot spots. So then I drop it down to around 360. And I always have a thermometer. Let's see if I have one of those with the probe that, goes in the oven. Yeah. Here's my, this probably hasn't been used since last Thanksgiving. But this thermometer, the whole entire time, is in the turkey. This is that same company, Rosla, although there are some good thermometers out there. But yes, the cord is going through the oven. I don't have a wireless one because I'm a health coach. I don't need all this extra Bluetooth in my life and wireless everything. So yes, I like cords. But so this is in the turkey the whole time, in the thigh, in the thickest part, not touching bone. Meanwhile, I'm monitoring on the outside, ready for it to hit 165 internal temperature. 160 would be fine too, because it is going to carry over cooking. And back to your original question, because you can tell I get so excited about turkey. Basting, I do not baste, period. No basting, because what happens is nothing. You let the heat out of the oven, and I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but clearly I have a lot of passion when it comes to talking about turkeys and really anything in the kitchen here, but I don't baste because I find that it just doesn't do anything. I mean, think of that turkey skin. You really think that the liquid is going through that crispy, beautiful skin. It is not. What you're doing is you're fulfilling a feeling of that you had in your childhood, watching your favorite household chef, basting the turkey like, in the 70s. And that's awesome. I get it. But you are letting the heat out of the oven. And so you're slowing down the turkey and you're drying it out. So please still love me. I'm sorry if you want to baste away, but that is my expert opinion on basting.
Oh, that sounds good. I love that. I love that recommendation too. And just also makes it easier. Let it cook.
Yes.
One less thing I've got to set a timer for.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing your website, Chef Courtney Contos, and really easy to get to. Her website is Contos, CContos.com. CContos.com. So for Chef Courtney, just search Chef Courtney, you'll come to her beautiful page, and she's got so much good information there and recipe tips. And Courtney, tell us more
about turkeys. No, I think we're done with
how to get a hold of you, my dear. How to get a hold of you.
Yes,
because you offer
having so much fun.
Actually work with you one-on-one, and your health coaching, and you're doing all that stuff. And Hanelsa, that's an aha moment. Thank you. I love this.
Yeah. So no, I work with people all around the world, and some of my coaching clients, there is a session just like this, but private for you based on your wellness goals and what you need to boost that culinary enthusiasm. But, all kinds of things, just helping people, if you're saying to someone, this is what you need to do, then I'm there to cheerlead them on and make sure they reach those goals at their own pace, but reaching the goals.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. So awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Courtney, for being with us today. I am so glad connected with you and to do this. And I'm looking forward to making more of those pickled, just pickled vegetables. And how healthy and beautiful, gorgeous that looks.
Beautiful. Oh, it's always fun being here and cooking with you. Thanks to everyone for your great questions and your feedback. And as I said in the beginning, if you didn't catch it, but I'm your chef friend here in the world, and you can just email me questions. You can find me on Instagram. I try to share helpful things with eating more vegetables and spreading culinary inspiration. So big hugs to you all, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for spending your time. And everyone, be sure to like this episode, share it with your audience, try the recipe out, and come back and let us know how you're doing. Check out Chef Courtney's recipes on her website, and everything she's doing is just gorgeous. So, and thank you for all those tips today.
Next time, we're going to make the cauliflower gnocchi. It's going to be so good. It's your recipe from the book, and I have a couple fun things that we're going to add to it and use the recipe as a base. But the cauliflower gnocchi is what we're going to cook next time. I love making gnocchi, so we're going to do it the right way.
Yeah, I can't wait to see any twist and tips you've got for that too, because that's one of the challenging ones. That's part of our Keto Green 16 vegan plan. So thank you everyone for being here, and be sure to like, tag, and share. That makes so much of a difference. Follow Courtney on her Instagram. And I look forward to seeing you guys again, and give us your feedback. Make this, snap a picture, tag me at The Girlfriend Doctor, tag Courtney at Courtney. What do we tag you?
Chef Coach Contos on Instagram and Facebook.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So tag us both, and we will share it in our media too. So thank you guys for being here.
Can't wait to see everyone's photos. They're going to be beautiful.
Beautiful. I can't wait. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in advance.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.